Well, I guess I'm fading you guys, and I'm also fading implicitly Friedberg's pick of Stripe. But my biggest business loser for 2022 is Visa and MasterCard and traditional payment rails and the entire ecosystem around it. So I think that this is the year you can put on what probably will be the most profitable spread trade of my lifetime, which is to be short these companies, and that anybody that basically lives off of this 2 or 3% tax, and be long, well thought out Web3 crypto projects that are rebuilding payments infrastructure in a completely decentralized way, and that a lot of these scammy crypto projects will go to zero. However, if you read the white papers of these crypto projects and you systematically put together a framework, I think you can be long those and you can be short Visa, MasterCard, because I think this is their peak market cap.
Man, Visa's market cap is $500 billion, huh? It's incredible.
It's a completely contrived duopoly that doesn't need to exist.
And what does Visa mean to a young person?
And MasterCard's almost $400 billion. So they're $1 trillion combined market cap.
By the way,
That's incredible.
you have to understand that the canary in the coal mine here is pretty significant. The most important thing is Amazon, earlier this year, Nick, maybe you can post this, decided to just shut Visa off in the UK.
Oh, yeah.
Now,
Bing.
Amazon is not going to do something like that, in my opinion, unless it's a test of what they can do all around the world. And again, going back to this idea of arming the rebels, there really is no need today for all of these small businesses to sit on top of Visa, MasterCard, and Amex rails. It's unnecessary. And so it'll probably get developed in the developing world first. This is why I think, focusing in markets like Nigeria, to me, are way more exciting than talking about these fading Western European countries. Who cares? This is where this stuff will happen. It's not to say that those other companies can't, trundle along for a while. But when I say, we'll look back in 10 years and their market caps will be materially lower, anybody in those traditional infrastructure and rails versus anybody in this new infrastructure and rails it will look like a no-brainer 10 years.
Do you consider the buy now, pay later companies like Affirm and Upstart or whatever? I don't know if Upstart fits in that category, but some of these buy now, pay later businesses as being the alternative to the traditional payment networks, or do you think that it's a different business?
No, right now, I think what buy now, pay later is a rate arbitrage.
Right.
When, as you said earlier, rates are very, very low, so the cost of capital is low. But it again starts to habituate the consumer experience to, I don't need to pay these usurious rates to these 3 credit card companies to facilitate a transaction of money that I already have or money that I'm good for. That's the big idea, right? And so when you translate that into Web3 in a good project or a good series of projects, you're not going to need these companies. And so it's going to, I think, eviscerate trillions of dollars of market cap.
Well, not to mention, you also have in between these two, Venmo and Cash App, which are not crypto, but they certainly as brands mean more to young people than Visa and MasterCard.
Yeah, do you think Block, used to be called Square, is a good pair trade against Visa, MasterCard in this context?
Yeah, I like it.
That starts to get closer to the truth. My perspective is you can kind of short anybody who's public, because anybody who's public can really only be public or will go public because they feast off of this artificial 2 or 3% transaction fee. Everybody does. The companies you want to be long are those private companies in crypto that you can read the white papers of, whose protocols have utility, and who's building some element of infrastructure that replaces a traditional business. As long as you can kind of build those things up, Balaji, for example, had a bunch of tweets this weekend where he was like, he has this idea for a mirror table. What is that? That replaces, cap table management. Right now, why is that important? Well, because it touches all of these really important KYC, AML, investing laws across all these countries in all of these places. It's just a very simple example of where the new company that actually builds that capability of these mirror tables will do so at virtually no cost. And so it'll have a 50-person team. And so they're not going to have offices all over the world. Their cost basis will be, an order or 2 orders of magnitude cheaper.
I mean, let's face it, Visa and MasterCard became a tax. It took them decades and decades to have that power over folks. But I think Affirm does break that. Affirm breaks it because the people who are selling then decide, you know what? We'll give a little bit of a discount here to get more people to buy. Go ahead.
They were the classic network effect monopoly business, right? Like they got the small businesses, they got the credit cards, and by extension, the consumers on the network. And ultimately, they created these absolutely locked in networks. But as with all networks, complacency kind of drives innovation, and this fueled innovation that we're seeing is now starting to figure out ways to not just crack their way into the network, but to replace them with an entirely different model.
Before we continue, help us clicking that YouTube like button and subscribe now to our channel. This shows the algorithm that you valued this information. And it helps us spread that message. Sharing is caring. And now, let's continue.
I have bad news for you. If you're not rich by now, you're screwed. And if you're in debt, you're even double screwed. How so, you might wonder? Well, the sad truth is that you're working your whole life to make someone else rich. The mega corporations, the banks, the politicians, everyone is getting richer. They get your money. And what is even worse, they get your time, they get your life. You are not even in a rat race, you're in a financial prison. But what could a solution for you look like? Honestly, I don't know, but I know what a solution for me would look like. It's very simple. I use whatever money I have and I multiply it with 1,000. This could make my life much easier and probably yours as well. If you have $1,000 available and multiply this with 1,000, I believe that this could solve some financial issue for the one or the other. Of course, if you're ugly, you would have to multiply it with much more than 1,000. My name is Markus Dahn, and this is what I decided to do. I decided to 1000x my money. This is not a joke. I know what you may be thinking. What is this guy talking about? How should this work? This is not possible. Well, I made a detailed video where I laid out my plan. And some clever folks might even want to look at this plan and copy it and do exactly what I do. This is just a little hint on the side. You have two options. You leave, you forget what you have seen. You do whatever you're doing and you hope that somehow you get some other results. Good luck with that. Or you click the link below the video. You enter your email address because I'm not showing this to everybody. You at least watch my video on how I plan to 1000x my money. The choice is yours. Make the right choice. Join me. See what a different future you could have. See at least how I plan to do the 1000x. So click on the link below, enter your email address, and I see you on the other side. Your Markus Dahn.